Here we'll just need some space, a mat, and a yoga block. Lower body stretch. So as we come on down, let's take a seat on the block first of all. So we'll sit up on the block and just cross at the ankles here. And just allow yourself to sit up nice and tall. So just take a couple of breaths, bringing the belly in, maintaining that nice flat spine, maybe closing the eyes here, letting the breath out, and just continuing to sit up tall, shoulders down and back as you release each exhale. So this little short stretch video is going to be designed around the hip area. We'll get into some of the lower legs around the calves and the shins and work into the quads and hamstrings and glutes as well. You can use this after a lower body workout, maybe after a bike ride, or just anytime throughout the day if you feel you need some relief and release in those spots. So just take another big breath here. Go ahead and open the eyes if you had them closed. We'll stay seated on that block, but slide the knees a little wider from each other so the soles of the feet actually come together. When we fold forward here, we're going to fold from our hips. So think of a nice flat back. Continue to lift the chest and spread the collarbones nice and wide out in front. So take that breath in, and with the breath out, you can hold on to the tops of the feet, and you could start to hinge from those hips and lean down. So we're not folding there from the waist, not excessively rounding in the back. Go to where you feel that stretch there in your inner thighs. And maybe you even slide those hands back a little bit and you allow the elbows or the palms to press the knees open a little bit further. You can even take a little rock side to side, right side, and then left side. And then gently drop the chin to your chest, just slightly. So we're still not trying to round too much in the upper back. Keeping some length there in our spine, but surrendering there into the stretch. So taking stillness, taking a little movement, whatever you need. If it feels comfortable to you, you can always come off of this block. You can always come down a little more further, maybe lowering the elbows even down to the mat. We'll stay here for about 4 to 5 more breaths. Last 2 here. And then take that last one. Awesome, so now go ahead and rise back up. We'll take this block and we're gonna extend the left leg out in front while we tuck the right foot back behind us. Half hero's pose. And you can always do this without sitting up on your block. If it feels comfortable with your hips on the ground, you can also do this sitting up on something higher. So maybe a couple pillows, bolsters. I'm gonna go ahead and slide this block out from underneath and just keep my hips down on the mat. But you want to be mindful of your knees and ankles and make sure this is comfortable for you. We don't feel any pain. We're just releasing a little bit here into the front body on that right side. Now, whether you're sitting on your block, your bolster, or your tushy is right down on the mat, you can begin to walk your hands back a little bit, lean back, and feel a little more release there up in the thighs. But be mindful, you should feel this in the meat part of your leg, not down in the joint there by your knee. And just breathe here. I'm going to stay for about 2 more on this side. If you lean back a little bit, just go ahead and gently bring yourself up. You'll extend that right leg out in front, staying on the block or off. We'll begin to tuck that left leg back behind us. Now do be mindful that one side might be a little different than the other. So say you were off the block on that other side, but you need to be on it for this one. Ease in, maybe start on that block and then just slide it out. Find what's good here, maybe taking that backward lean, that tilt, and finding a little more stretch in the quadricep on this side. We'll take about 3 more breaths on this side. Find your last one. Gently rising yourself back up. Send both legs out front. This will be a wide-legged forward fold. So we can sit on the block there, and we can bring a block out front, or we could do both. We do want to find the legs going as wide as they feel comfortable, and keeping those toes flexing up towards the sky. Soft little bend in the knees, so just make sure you're not hyperextending and locking out. We're going to hinge from the hips again with that exhale, start to come forward. So for me, sometimes I like to just bring my forearms right out on this block, keeping my back nice and long. And we'll stay here for a couple minutes, so maybe as I get more comfortable into it, I begin to drop the block a little lower, bring myself a little closer to the ground, and I might even lower my forehead down to that block and let my arms stay down. So just find what feels right here. Keeping those toes flexing up, finding that stretch there in the inner thighs. So if the hands come down, maybe we lower that forehead gently to the block and just surrender in. You stay as high, stay as lifted as you need to here, stretching into the hamstrings and the inner thighs. Got about 10 seconds left, so just a couple more breaths. When you're ready, gently start to walk yourself back in. Now for this next one, we'll find a little bit of internal rotation, so still getting into more the groin and the inner thighs. Bring your legs pretty close together. Let's say about shoulder distance, so a lot further in from where they were. We'll bend into the legs, let the knees rise up, and let's drop those knees over towards our right side. So we are finding that internal rotation here in that left leg. Now we can take the outer blade of that right foot, place it on top for a little bit more if needed, or just keep it where it is. You can lean back a little bit. We don't want to find any pain, feel any pain here. We're just searching for that stretch and breathing into that. A little bit of release. About 4 more breaths here. And if If you have that right foot up on that knee, just go ahead and gently bring it down. Let's send the legs out in front for just a little shake. And we'll find that on the other side. Bending them, widening them a little bit, let them fall over to the left. And then maybe finding the outer blade of the left foot resting on the right side. One side of the body to the other, sometimes just needing something different. So just taking the adjustments and the little tweaks that you need to feel your best in these stretches. And about 3 or 4 more breaths here. If you have that left foot up there on the knee, gently go ahead and bring it down. Let's send those legs out front. One more time, little shimmy shake. And we're gonna recline all the way down to our backs. Hamstring stretch on the right side. Extend your left leg out, rise the right leg high. Put the hands behind that right leg as you lower the head down. Interlace and just draw the leg in. Find the stretch, and you can have as much of a bend in the right leg as you need, the lifted leg. Now you may walk the hands up a little closer towards your calf or to your ankles, but just find what feels good. Still soften the shoulders down to the earth so we're not trying to roll the shoulders up off of the mat. And if the left leg doesn't feel good and that hip flexor being all the way extended, you can always bend that left leg and just place the sole of the foot down. Stay here for a couple more breaths. Now if the left leg is still extended, go ahead and bend it. Bring that left leg in. Release the right leg, but keep it lifted. Left leg is going to come up to join it. And we're going to cross the right leg over the left. Bend into both legs. Now this one, we just hold on there, right below the knees, on the shins, and hug those legs into the chest. If that feels good in the hips, probably more in the right hip with this variation, stay right here where you're at. You could always walk the hands down, hold on to the outside blades of the foot, so the right hand would hold the left side and the left hand would hold the right, but don't force that to happen. So we don't need that grip. We can hold on right up just in the backs or the fronts of the knees, actually on the shins, just below, and hug in here. So just holding what feels right. Again, the shoulders are down towards the mat. Taking the grip that suits you best, drawing the knees down and in towards the chest. And I like to give a little press with that bottom knee into the right leg and just feeling that release on the right side. Maybe you let your knees fall gently to the right, see where that stretch shifts, or gently to the left, and just stay where it feels good for you. Just a couple more breaths here, and then we release whatever grip that we have, sending the legs up high to the sky. Keep the left leg lifted. We'll lower the right leg, bending it with the foot flat or extending it out all the way, and find the hamstring stretch now on the left leg. Taking that bend in the left leg as much as you need in the knee, walking the hands up to where it feels good for you. Let go in the upper body so we're not gripping and holding on tight. We're Feeling that stretch and release in the left hamstring. Stay for about 3 to 4 more breaths. And go ahead and lift that right leg up. So sliding the leg in first if it's not already bent. We'll extend the right leg up high to the sky. Now release the grip on the left. Cross the left leg over the right. We've got that shoelace or eagle wrap. Bending both legs, drawing the knees in. So this side for me, I've got a much tighter left glute, probably up in my piriformis is where it's hitting. That's what it feels like. And that's a little tiny banded muscle underneath our glute max, so our bigger glute muscle. But just find where you feel it, maybe taking that rock towards the right with the knees or towards the left and taking a different hold down towards the feet or ankles if it suits you and if you can keep the shoulders down. We're not going for pain or forcing anything here, trying to find our furthest variation, just settling in. Think about on an effort scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most effort, we're just sitting about a 4. So breathe into that stretch, release into that stretch, letting go into that left hip and glute. Find that little bit of pressure with the right knee into where it's touching on your left leg. And just finding that nice stretch there. Hugging those knees down into your chest. Use the strength of the legs so we're not gripping and pulling too much with the arms. Last couple of breaths here on this side. Gently releasing the grip that you have, send the legs all the way up to the sky. Let's point through the toes nice and strong. Now flex into the feet. Feel that stretch in the calves. Point them again nice and tall. Feel a little stretch in the shins, the front, and then go ahead and flex them again for the calves. Now let's bend the legs, lower them down. Our last stretch is a supported bridge pose to get into the hip flexors options here. Press into your feet. They're separated about hip distance. We're going to lift up and just rise the hips enough to slide the block right underneath the sacrum. So try to place it there at the base of your spine on that little triangle bone there, right at the bottom. Now you can stay right here, stretching your arms out away from the body, maybe palms up, or you might extend these legs all the way out. And you might take your block to even that second level, but we find a release there in the front, in the hip flexors. So if you already feel it there a little bit in your abdominals, you don't need to change a thing. You can keep the legs bent as well. Now, if your legs are bent, maybe you separate your feet a little bit wider than they are towards the edges of the mat, and you can allow those knees to fall in towards each other. And you're still finding that release there in the hip flexors. The psoas muscle is one of those main ones we are stretching here. So knowing that you can adjust from here if you need to bring your block a little higher or place a higher bolster underneath you. A foam roller works really well in this position too, and then you extend back out. Notice if there's any tension anywhere. Let it go. Maybe it's the fingers, maybe the muscles in the face, the shoulders can soften more, maybe the toes. We'll stay for about 5 more breaths here. On your last breath, and if you have the legs extended out, just go ahead and gently slide them back in, or if the knees were drawn together, go ahead and separate them. Press into the heels, squeeze into the belly just to protect the spine and everything. Lifting up to slide the block out, lowering down. Draw the knees into your chest, give yourself a nice big hug. You can curl head, neck, and shoulders off of the floor, take a little rock side to side. And then gripping onto those toes, let's draw them in towards the face for a nice calf stretch, just holding on there right at the balls of the feet and at the bottom of the toes. You can lower the head back down if that feels better in your neck. But just feel that release there in the back of the lower leg. And gently, when you are ready, release the feet down, roll to one side, maybe the right, maybe the left. Gently press yourself up to that seat. And thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that stretch felt good to you. If there's anything you need to change in how you take those variations, or adding something in or removing something out, know that you are always encouraged to do that. Just listen to your body, and hopefully you can make all of it feel just how you need it, whatever day you choose to follow this. Thanks so much.